So I'm sitting here in my car in Joshua Tree. This portion of my trip did not turn out like I expected it to at all, but that's okay because, like I said, every day I'm learning less and less to think about my plans being what's actually going to happen and just letting kind of spirit guide me. But I wanted to talk tonight, and I know I should record this during the day, but sometimes I prefer for these messages to be at night, just because I feel like sometimes talking in the dark allows more space for things to come out. So I know a lot of people, well, I don't know if I'm assuming, this is just kind of like something that I've been thinking about. I don't want people to think that, I packed up my car, with everything I own, and got on the road and started traveling because I wanted to, make my life interesting, or, I wanted to, do something that I thought would be fun and exciting. It is fun and exciting, but that isn't what this trip is about or why I chose to go on it. I went on this trip, or just started living this way, because it's a trip if you go back to your destination, right? And I'm not going back, so I did this. I chose to do this. I am doing this because I've lived most of my life under this guise of being what everyone else wanted me to be. And I don't know if this is something that happens to a lot of other people, particularly in your family dynamics or, just in society in general. Or if this is something because I'm an INFJ, or if this is something because I'm a woman or a feminine energy. I don't necessarily know what specific thing causes this to be something that occurs a lot, but I lived most of my life doing things to make other people comfortable, to make other people feel like I wasn't different, or, however you want to word it, because there were a lot of times where when I would be myself, it makes people uncomfortable. They're like, you're weird, you're different, you're strange, you're this, you're that. And so, because I like to have things balanced and be comfortable for people, a lot of times I would put big parts of myself away to make other people comfortable because they didn't know how to be around me. And I think it's interesting. I ran into this guy when I was in Sedona who asked me, because I was uploading some videos in a grocery store, and he asked me my personality type. I said, "Oh, I'm an INFJ." And he was surprised by this, and I guess I knew INFJ was 1% of the population, but I didn't necessarily know how to turn that into something I could practically understand. And of course he was able to help elaborate this for me, and he basically told me, he's like, okay, so you're in this grocery store right now, right? He's like, all right, everyone in here is mostly, and if you don't know the types, he was just talking about extroverts and sensors are a dominant part of our society as a whole on this earth, but he was relating the grocery store to being representative of earth. And then he explained all these different personality types and how many people would be in the store. And he said, as a female INFJ, he said, you're probably, in this grocery store, the only person with this personality type. And that's how he compared being 1%, is in a grocery store, of all the people, I would be the only one in there who was an INFJ. Because I was telling him about how I was always having to change things about myself, put parts of myself away, or cover up parts of myself to make other people comfortable because they didn't know how to be around me. And he said, and this is something that I really, it triggered me, but I knew it was good that it triggered me because it's something I need to work on. He said, you're trying so hard to fit in with everybody else, but have you ever thought that maybe you're not supposed to fit in? Maybe you are supposed to not stand out, but be set apart, to be different. And this was never really something that I feel like our society really encourages anyway. They want everyone to wear the same things, have the same phone, like the same stuff, eat the same food, go to the same places. That's always been pushed in our society specifically, and something that I've always been averse to, and something that really always frustrated me. But when you're, and especially feminine energy, you're taught oh, well, you should be nice, you should listen, you should be quaint, you should be polite, you should always smile, you should do this, you should do that, don't do this, don't do that, why are you doing that, that's not ladylike, that's not this, that's not that. And when you're told that constantly your whole life, you learn how to walk through life not as yourself. You learn to walk through life pretending to be some person that everyone else says that you should be to make them comfortable. Especially with feminine energy, people are so uncomfortable with a feminine energy who truly understands who they are, truly understands what they want and isn't afraid to be who they are, who isn't afraid to not smile when they don't feel like it or not do the niceties when they don't feel like it. It puts people off because that is a feminine energy that recognizes her power, and they don't want that because it's very powerful. And so I didn't go on this trip so that I could make a bunch of vlogs, and I mean, obviously it's something that I'm choosing to do to add more beauty and fruitfulness to the journey, but it wasn't like I said, okay, I'm going to pack my car and I'm going to start filming all these beautiful natural locations, and that's what my goal is. I packed everything in my car and left because I was done. I was tired of everyone in my family and in my like my life as far as general society goes saying you should be this, you should be that, why do you do this, why don't you do that, you should be more like this, why are you like that, etc. and so on, constantly always critiquing and trying to change who I was. And everyone meets a breaking point where you can no longer wear that mask. You can no longer pretend that when you're smiling that it's because you want to smile when you're smiling in people's faces. And then I have to go in my room and I'm super upset because all of that was so fake. All of it was so much affront, putting on niceties, because if I really spoke my truth, if I really said how I felt, I would make a lot of people upset. I'd make a lot of people angry, and I would have been doing that for a very large portion of my life. And maybe this is why INFJs are 1% of the population and are kind of like that loner type, is because there's a lot of times where I've felt things or intuitively got hits about stuff, and I couldn't share that because it's not nice. It's not ladylike. It's not this. It's not that. It's not whatever makes people comfortable. And when I had that confrontation at my house where I was living, and they told me about things that I did that made them uncomfortable or didn't make them feel safe or didn't this or didn't that, it frustrated me so much because I felt like, how dare you tell me all of these things that I do alone in my room, in the privacy of my room, never put on anybody else, makes you uncomfortable when I have had to walk my whole life changing who I am to make other people comfortable and never saying anything, because women should not speak back. They should be polite. They should be quiet. They should always smile. They should grin and bear it. That just set me off so bad. It made me so upset, and it triggered something in me. I don't know if you call this an existential crisis. I looked up existential crisis actually, and Dark Night of the Soul came up on my phone. And actually, I'm going to read to you what it said to me because it was very accurate in how I felt. Okay. So I looked up existential crisis because I was sitting in my room and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep having people tell me, you shouldn't do this anymore, it makes us uncomfortable. You shouldn't do that anymore, it makes us uncomfortable. We don't understand that. We don't believe in that, so you should not believe that either. You should believe what we believe so that we're more comfortable. You should do this and this and that because that makes us feel better. I could not stand to do that anymore. And I knew my spirit guides were like, it's time to leave. You cannot be in this house anymore. We don't care where you go. You cannot be here if you really want to live authentically, if you really want to finally find who you are. So I was sitting in my room and I was crying. I was like, is this really happening? Like, I can't do this anymore. I'm about to have a mental break. And so I looked up existential crisis. I feel like as an INFJ, though, INFJs probably go through this a lot. But then I found Dark Night of the Soul. And there was it's based off of a poem actually, and a portion, the first verse of the poem is translated to, in an obscure night, fevered with love's anxiety, O hapless, happy plight, I went, none seeing me, forth from my house where all things quiet be. And that was a very strong hit to me to tell me, like, you're literally sitting in the middle of the night with this anxiety, freaking out because you know it's time to leave, you know it's time to go, and you're gonna do it, and you're gonna go silently. And I didn't say anything. Nobody knew I was leaving. I packed up all my stuff very quietly. I did what I needed to do to leave. And like I'd mentioned in my other video, it kind of was just like spirit just pushed me to do it. And at first, I was in shock. I couldn't believe I was actually doing it. And then I got super excited and I was like, wow, this is really happening. I'm really going to do this. And then you actually have to do the work. It isn't like now I'm just going to be like a montage scene of me like laughing and smiling and happy traveling through all these places. That's not what's happening, because I didn't choose to leave to go and have fun. I had to leave because I couldn't be who I was. No one was allowing me to be me. And Everyone in my family now is trying to message me, trying to ask me where I am, make sure I'm safe. I should be safe. You should tell people where you are, because then we know you're safe, then we know you're okay. Well, guess what? That is not something that helps the process along, because when you're in a position like this, putting yourself out there and trying to do what's right for you, and then everyone wants to come forth and say they want to support you, then everyone wants to come forth and say that they want to understand you, then everyone wants to come forth. The truth is, if they really knew everything that I do or everything that I believe in, a lot of them would not want to speak to me. A lot of them would not want to support me, because would be seen as witchcraft. It would be seen as satanic. It would be seen as very dark things. And that has never been my intention with the things that I do on my channel. With telling people about the things that have changed my life, it's never been my intention to bring anything dark or negative to anyone's life. And so just hearing the opinions of people in my family before some of them don't know what I do, but before they even knew like that I did this stuff, I would just hear them speak about this in conversation, and I knew, well, they won't support it. This isn't something that they're going to support. This is a part of myself that I'll have to hide, but it's the part of myself that has changed my life the most. And so all the times that people have been messaging me in the last couple of days, I know it's been a test to see if I'm really going to stand up for myself, or if I'm going to be like, okay, I'll tell you where I am. Okay, I'll tell you this. Okay, I'll tell you that. It's none of their business. And that is something that has to happen in order for me to really grow in this process, because that is codependency. That is not allowing yourself to become an adult or to grow, is infantilizing yourself and being like, I do need to tell these people. I do need their help. I do need them to know. I don't need that. I've never needed it, and it's something that I clung to feel safe, because I thought that that was a support system that would help support me in being who I am, but it's not. And I'm talking about this with you now because when you choose to really figure out who it is that you are outside of all the things that people should tell you should be, when you're trying to figure out what it is that you want to do and where you want to go and what your dreams are, you're going to have to let some people go. You're going to have to not share some information. You're going to have to do things on your own. You're going to have tests along the way. You're going to have challenges along the way, because your spirit guides want to actually make sure that you understand what is happening. It would be a completely different story if I left my house, started recording all this stuff, and it was happy and fun all the time. What growth happens there? What do you really learn from that? There's nothing to transform you when that happens. I knew that there would be challenges throughout this process. I knew that there would be a lot of things that I would be relearning about myself. And one of them has just been learning about who I really am, because a lot of who I am was a construct for other people, to make other people happy, to make other people comfortable with who I was. And it wasn't even who I was. So I just want you guys to understand, like, when some of the things that I'll be sharing throughout this month and the next couple of months, it's going to be a process where, I mean, I don't know if you follow astrology anyway, but Saturn and Pluto are sitting on my first house anyway, so that just compounds the transformations that I'm going through personally. But I'm sharing this because if you really do want to start living for you, if you really do feel like you've been putting on all of these masks for other people, smiling when you're supposed to smile, saying this and that when you're supposed to say this and that, doing things to make other people comfortable, make other people happy, and you're tired of doing that, you have to really stand in that. You have to understand that when you do stand in that, that there will be challenges. There will be parts of yourself that you're going to have to face and own up to and recognize, acknowledge, and then release. If you don't release those things or acknowledge that they're there, there's still going to be issues for you whether or not you're with other people or by yourself in your car like I am right now. I've been sitting in here thinking about all the things that I allowed to be perpetuated within myself, and all the things that I perpetuated in order to make other people comfortable. And that is something I have to let go of. So if you notice that there's a change in the way that I present myself on my channel and you no longer resonate with that, then I truly understand that. And that makes sense to me, because I was vibrating at a different type of frequency and a different type of wavelength with the way that I was sharing myself then. I was still projecting that mask even on my channel, because I was still in an environment, I was still recording in an environment where I knew I had to be a specific way in order to make other people comfortable. So there will be changes that I'll be going through. There will be different ways in which I present myself on this channel, and that's something that I'm not going to feel bad about. I'm not going to feel bad if I'm not smiling all the time. I'm not going to feel bad if I'm not putting on the niceties, if I'm not sounding a certain way, looking a certain way. I really have to find my authentic self, what really feels like me. And this is something that I really want to urge anyone who's watching this to do as well. It doesn't mean that you need to like pack up your car and go travel somewhere where nobody knows you kind of thing. This was important for me because I've constantly been around energies that have drained me, and I've had to change myself around that in order for me to even figure out who it is that I am. I needed to be away from everyone, not communicating with anyone, not allowing any other energies to affect me. That is something I needed to do. If you're trying to find out who it is that you are, or if you think that you know, because trust me, we all have this idea of who we think that we are. We all do. This is something that all of us were like, yeah, I know who I am. But when you really sit with yourself, by yourself, in the desert with nobody else around, there's another person that comes out that you don't spend a lot of time with when you're constantly stimulated by cell phones or ads or technology or, vices. When you're sitting by yourself in the dark, in quiet solitude, not communicating with anyone but yourself, there's a lot more that you learn. And this is something that, like, I just want to stress this really strongly because it is really, really my goal that they're not coming to this channel thinking that it's one of those, like, channels where it's like, oh yeah, this person is just like, they've got it all figured out. They're super happy. No, I don't have it all figured out. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm listening to my intuition. I'm following my intuition. I'm following my dreams. I'm following my spirit guides. I'm following what feels right from inside of my heart. I'm no longer going by the script that's been written for us by our societal standards. I'm really learning that the way that I used to be when I was really young, or the way that I inherently was before life tried to change me, is who I need to come back to now. And I had a very crazy dream I won't get into back on the solar eclipse last July. It was a solar eclipse in Cancer, and then we just had the lunar eclipse in Cancer this month. So I knew that that dream was going to kind of come to fruition at this time, and it has been. But this is something that I just wanted to stress because I don't want people to think that I have everything figured out, because I don't. And I don't want anyone to think that anyone has anything figured out, because no one does. No one truly has everything figured out. No one truly knows everything that's going on. No one truly knows every way that they feel, everything that they think. No one truly knows that until they sit with themselves. And most people haven't been taught to sit with themselves. Most people haven't been taught how to sit in meditation, how to journal, how to write, how to think out your feelings, how to reflect on what's happening, how to notice your triggers, how to notice red flags. These are not things that we are taught. We're taught how to go to school. We're taught how to get a job. We're taught how to go to college, how to get married, how to work a 9 to 5, and then how to retire and how to die. Those are main things. And pay your taxes. Those are things that we are drilled in. Those are drilled into our head. We're never taught what it is that you're supposed to do after you experience heartbreak. We're never taught what it is you're supposed to do when somebody hurts your feelings and you don't know how to express it. We're not taught what you're supposed to do when you don't know what to do with your life and you don't know who you are. Those aren't things that our society finds important. And those are things that I find important, because that's what life should really be about. It should really be about finding who you are, finding your purpose, and following that. And it's not the script that you've been given. I'm sorry if you think that, but it isn't. So, if you're coming to this channel, if you're watching this video, then you might be experiencing an existential crisis yourself, and I want you to know that that is a very good sign. If you're experiencing those things, then that means that you're really questioning what's happening around you. You're really questioning your own motives, the motives of those around you, what it is that life is truly about, what it is that you truly want. And it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be happy-go-lucky. Life doesn't work. It's not linear anyway. Life is not a straight line, and life isn't constantly ups. It is a wavelength. So you should recognize that when you have those challenges, when you're feeling like crap, when you don't know what's going on, that is a normal part of growth. That is a normal part. That is a challenge that's supposed to help transform you. When you're really spending time allowing challenges to come in, recognizing that that's an opportunity that your spirit guides are providing to see if you really want to change, if you really want to grow. That's how they're going to do it. If I had come down here and put all of my hope into getting that van and thinking, okay, yeah, this van is going to be the answer to all of my problems, and that fell through, if I decided, oh, you know what, this was all a mistake, I need to go back, I need to apologize to everybody, I was so wrong, that is your spirit guides being like, what the heck? Your first challenge and you can't handle that. You have to want it. You have to be stronger than any of the challenges that are presented to you, and you are stronger than them. I guarantee you that you're stronger than you think you are. A lot of people don't recognize this strength because they never test their strength. They never allow themselves to challenge themselves. And I really want the people who are watching this video to challenge yourself, to really just take a second. Even as you're watching this right now, take a second and think, when I wake up in the morning, am I doing something that I'm enjoying doing? If I wake up in the morning and the things that I have to do throughout that day, if I have to instantly have anxiety, if I instantly have to be angry, upset, feeling lost, or feeling stuck, that is not healthy. That is not something that you should be waking up and looking for every day. When you wake up, if you're looking at your life and everything that's in that one day, because all you really have is the day ahead of you. You don't ever have what's past, and you don't know what's ahead of you in the next day. Whatever is happening today for you, if it's not something that makes you feel alive, if it's not something that makes you feel like this is my path, this feels right, this is resonant, this really, if you're only doing things because society is saying that you should do it, or because you've been told that you should do it, or your parents used to do it, or you see your friends doing it, or you see society doing it, that's not why you should be doing it. You should be choosing to make your life look like you want it to look. And this is something that I really had to learn, especially when you're trying to manifest. You can say that you want this and this and that so bad, and that that's really what you want a part of your life. But if you're saying that and then you're still going throughout your same routine, you're not working alongside your spirit to change any of that. So if you want to make music, or if you want to create and be an artist, if you want to help environmentalism, then part of your life needs to start changing to fit that. You need to spend more time doing the things that it is that you want to do. You need to cut other things out. Things will need to be cut out. You'll have to release a lot of attachments. There will be things that need to be let go of. I'm not going to turn this. This is already a very long video, so if you've watched this whole thing, I really hope that you felt something from this, or you resonate with this, or you feel like this is something that will really speak to you and help you to sit in reflection about what it is that really needs to change, the people you need to let go of, the idea of who you need to be to make other people happy is released, because it's not worth it. And I don't want you to wind up like me, going so many years through your life pretending to be somebody else for everybody else, and then having that break in reality where you're like, I don't even know who I am, so now I gotta go figure out who that freaking is. And I've caught a glimpse of her before a long time ago, and who knows if that'll even be the person that I find myself to be at the end of this journey. But I just want you to understand that the things that I'm going through here are not pretty. They're not, it's not fun. It's hard to recognize that you've done things throughout your whole life that were so detrimental to yourself, that were so unloving to yourself, to make other people happy, to make other people comfortable. You have to release everything that you think you know about life and what it's supposed to be like, and recognize that there is so much more that we aren't doing as like a collective to heal ourselves and to recognize what needs to be worked on within ourselves, because we're too distracted. We are too distracted. Please go somewhere quiet. And I don't mean, I used to say like just be in your room by yourself. You need to be out in nature. You need to take a whole day. You can take a whole day to scroll through your phone. You can take a whole day and go find a park where no one is. If it's cold, sit in your car. If it's warm, sit outside. Make it work and be alone. That is the only way that any kind of answers from your spirit guides can come in. Society has made sure that there are so many distractions and noises and buzzing about that you cannot hear your inner intuition. You cannot hear your spirit guides. I'm strongly urging you to do that. I really thank you for, if you're at the end of this video having watched all of this, I really thank you for listening and hearing me out, and hopefully taking some time to reflect on the things I've been saying. I hope that you understand that some of the way that I may look, or the way that I may speak, or the way that I may act on my channel may be different, but that you still support the changes that I'm going through. And I hope that I'll be able to support any changes that people may be sharing through my channel as well. I really hope that this is something that I can help other people to do, because it's honestly, it changes your whole view of life. It changes everything. And it's not something I would ever give away to somebody else ever again, is allowing them to tell me who I am or what to do with my life. So I thank you for watching this. I hope to see you again. And if I do see you again, I hope that the next time I see you, you've made some changes for your life that actually do something for you. Peace and love.